Well, it's time to head back, and I am not looking forward to the drive, but I'm looking forward to getting home. So, enjoy the beautiful scenery so long as light allows. Hey there, YouTube and all my subscriber family, and welcome to all my new subscribers. This is Garrett with Houses on Wheels, and first of all, 1,500 subscribers. That's just absolutely fantastic, and I totally get it. I mean, without all of you contributing some of your time out of your day to invest your cares, your prayers, and simply watching my videos, none of this would be possible. So I want to thank all of you. One of the things that I've noticed as I've watched many van life travel type videos on YouTube is that there is not a lot of effort put into reflecting back on, or at least giving overall impressions of places that people have traveled to. And I will have to say that perhaps it is simply an error on my end. It is very possible that I simply have not been watching the right videos. But nevertheless, it's something that I've noticed in at least the videos that I've watched. And so I want to make it an effort whenever I have the opportunity, since I work full-time and whatnot, whenever I do get an opportunity to do some traveling, even if it's simply an overnight stay or a weekend type getaway, to do some sort of reflection slash overall impressions video on the places that I travel to. And why not start with Madras, Oregon, which is where I went to for the solar eclipse. Now, I first want to say that I'm aware that it is likely my experience in Madras, Oregon, may be considerably different than normal. And the reason why I say that is because Madras expected there to be hundreds of thousands of people. Now, I don't know exact numbers as far as how many people were actually there, but they were definitely in the thousands. And where I parked, along the side of a vacant parking lot, it was fairly empty. But Madras is normally, from what I've read, a small city of roughly 6,200 people in their population. Now, the one downside that I experienced in my couple of days in Madras, Oregon, is the lack of internet service. And by internet service, I don't necessarily mean Wi-Fi hotspots, but even simply browsing the web on my cell phone. And I cannot really say that it was an authentic downside, simply because I cannot expect, and nor should anybody really, that Madras would be equipped with the type of necessary technology to be able to handle the traffic, whether it be cellular or broadband, to be able to host that sort of activity. And that's why I say it's the one downside that I experienced, but I don't really count it as part of the overall trip. I just really just consider it as it is what it is. I was still able to make phone calls and receive texts and send them just fine. It was just an internet issue. And as you could see from a couple of previous videos during my stay, I was able to live stream, but it had to be late at night. During the eclipse, I was not able to live stream at all. I mean, that was just not going to happen. I couldn't even browse the web. And even before leaving for Madras, I already anticipated that was probably going to happen. In fact, I considered it to be quite the surprise to be able to do the bit of live streaming that I was able to. Now, with that little detail out of the way, one of the things that I can say, aside from the eclipse itself, which was the main event, but I made it an intention to enjoy as much of the city as possible. And so even if I was not able to capture great video of the eclipse, which, by the way, I think I really did, and that's not for bragging rights, that's just, you know, stating it for what it is. Even if I wasn't able to, it would not have been a disappointment because of the overall experience. One of the top things that I really enjoyed about my stay there, and especially being in a small town, is just being able to walk places and get there rather quickly. I mean, if I wanted to get to a specific spot to check out that I kind of pre-planned, it was really only a 5 or 7 minute walk. And that is a sheer change from living in a big city as I do. But even the historic look was a sight to see. Very enjoyable. I mean, it was just, I don't remember, aside from obviously I walk a lot at work, I'm on my feet for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, on concrete no less. But aside from work, I can't remember the last time that I walked so much. We have entered the city of Madras. Wow. I don't know if we'll get the full benefit of watching this town, but it's a gorgeous spot. I wouldn't mind visiting Madras at some point. I don't know if I get good service here, but that's irrelevant. I do not. I do not get any service down here. But it's still a very impressive place. It's kind of, it would almost be the equivalent of having a city in the middle of the Grand Canyon, just on a much smaller scale than the Grand Canyon. And that's just how impressive it is. Very small town. Very hot here. It must still be high 80s. And it's 8:22 at night. But it's fine. Sharp turns. Sure, Verizon works out here. Verizon works everywhere. Well, looks like we got school buses. That one is owned by somebody. In fact, that one looks like it's owned by somebody as well. He may be pulling over, but I'm not. Cool gas station. Very cool gas station. If I had time, I'd be stopping and I would be pulling over and looking around this place, because it's really neat, if I do say so myself, and I do. I'm not sure how much more I'm going to be able to record. The light is fading fast. The first official day that I was there, I went out of my way to climb up a giant hill, which really what fixated me on that hill was the bridge that was alongside that hill. And come to find out, that is actually part of their city logo, I guess you could call it. And I didn't know that at the time, which was a pretty cool discovery. But I decided to walk up that hill because I wanted an aerial shot of the entire city. And that was just a beautiful sight. I mean, I showed that experience in one of my earlier videos of Madras. The people there are very, very friendly. I met so many people, not only, that came to Madras for the eclipse, but I talked to a lot of locals. I mean, they were shocked at the numbers, but they weren't surprised. They were quite honest that they were already ready for the eclipse to be over with so they could just get back to life as normal. But they seemed to enjoy the conversation that they had with me. Very nice people, very conservative, hardworking type people, proud of their little town. And that's a refreshing sight to see. And I don't want to get into politics, but to put it lightly and brief, I will just say that it's not uncommon to talk with people that have a disappointed view of where I live. So it's a nice change to be able to meet and talk with people that are truly proud of where they live. And so that was really nice. Overall, I would have to say, with all the little shops, that was also pretty cool. Obviously, many of them were there for the eclipse event, but there were still a lot of little shops all around. Most of them closed, but I could still kind of do my little window shopping. And I'm not really much of a fan of shopping overall, but it was cool to be able to just see all that. it gives kind of an idea of what everyday life is in Madras. It's, you can tell that it's a very centralized, self-sustaining type of city, just by the overall impression of the little shops that you see as you're walking along. Overall, I would have to say that because of this experience in Madras, Oregon, it gives me an itch not only to hurry up with this darn van build and to finally move into this thing full time, but it also gives me an itch I was not expecting. And that is to, as I have the opportunity, visit other small towns and see what I can discover at those various places. And with that, I think that pretty much concludes what I have to say about Madras. An experience I will not forget, to say the least. Not only because of the solar eclipse, which obviously speaks for itself, but also for the city. Well, about 101 miles left to go on I-5. Traffic was just bumper to bumper, and I felt the need to either pull over or try to make it to a rest stop, and thankfully there was one only about 2 miles away. So while the rest stop was nothing short of overcrowded, I was able to find a spot. Someone was pulling out, and so I was blessed with a quiet parking spot, and there was a volunteer supplying coffee, so I gave a little donation to get some coffee, and I was only intending to take a quick nap, and it ended up being like a 3-hour nap, so I must have been tired. But it's a little after 7 now, about 7:20 in the morning, and I'm safely at home. So it was a great experience, and I thank all of you for all of your kind words. I had a lot of fun with our live feeds, and so I definitely plan on doing more of those. As always, thank you for watching. Take care, love others as you love yourself, and I'll see you next time.